Hey there, Cambrian Park Church family. Hope you're doing well. This is your midweek video update. It's Wednesday afternoon, and I hope that you're having a great week. It was great to see so many of you this past Sunday, on Easter Sunday, as we talked about those three resurrections, the resurrection of Jesus, the resurrection of Lazarus, and our resurrection. And so I hope that you enjoyed being together as a church family on Easter to celebrate Jesus, and I hope that you are looking forward to joining us again this upcoming Sunday. We'll be jumping back into our DNA series, and this Sunday we're going to talk about Christians being forgiving people. And so we're going to talk about forgiveness and what it is and how we practice it and what Jesus teaches us about forgiveness. And so I want to encourage you to plan to join us on Sunday. It should be a great time to be together. Again, there's a Zoom link available in this email, and feel free to join us on Zoom if you're not able to make it in person. Obviously, I'd love to see you in person if you can be here with us in person, but obviously we're happy to provide the Zoom link as well. So I wanted to just share a little thought with you. I just started reading in 1 Peter in my quiet time, and actually yesterday when I was reading just starting off in 1 Peter in chapter 1, I was caught by a couple of things in just the first two verses of 1 Peter. And so I wanted to share this with you. It's a little odd because it's the introduction, and you wouldn't normally think that there would be, insightful things that maybe the Spirit of God would speak to you about in an introduction. But I just want to read this to you and then just make a couple of comments before we wrap things up for our midweek video update. It says in verse 1, Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to God's elect, exiles, scattered throughout the provinces of Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, who have been chosen according to the foreknowledge of God the Father, through the sanctifying work of the Spirit, to be obedient to Jesus Christ and sprinkled with his blood. Grace and peace be yours in abundance. Such a beautiful introduction to this letter that Peter is writing. And there are a couple things that I underlined that were noteworthy to me. First was that Peter is writing to God's people, and he mentions them as being exiles. And so you can imagine being an exile. There's a sense of people being spread out away from their homeland, dealing with the challenges of that. We know we have a lot of things going on right now in Ukraine, and where people are needing to leave the country in order to find safety in there. So they're in another country. You could say they're exiles in other countries and don't have a lot of the comforts of home and the things that they're used to. And so there's a certain unsettling nature of being in exile, being away from what is safe and normal. The home is a place that should be a place of safety and comfort and rest and peace. And when you're exiled from your homes, there's obviously a concern that comes with that, an unsettling nature, a safety concern that comes with that reality. And yet that's who Peter is writing to here, are God's people that are exiled in these different areas and different regions. And he says that these Christians have been chosen according to God's foreknowledge. And it says here, through the sanctifying work of the Spirit. And that sanctifying work is another kind of a fancy way of saying the set apart nature of the Spirit. So the fact that God's Spirit is working in them to make them unique in the sense that they are beginning to look and to live more like Jesus. And so they're being set apart for God's purposes, to be used by him. And so he says here that they're being sanctified by the work of the Spirit. And he says to be obedient to Jesus Christ. And that was just such a key phrase there. We're being set apart according to the Spirit in order to be obedient to Jesus. And there's a lot of us in churches today that know a lot about the teachings of Jesus. We may have lots of great theology about Jesus. We may memorize verses and stories about Jesus. But when it comes to actually obeying the principles that Jesus teaches us, sometimes we tend to maybe skip over those things and avoid those things, because sometimes they seem maybe unreachable or unattainable for us. And in many ways they are, without the work of the Holy Spirit working in us and through us in order to achieve those things. And so I want to encourage us this morning as we consider this verse, as we think about this upcoming Sunday. We're going to be talking about forgiveness and the commands that Jesus gives us to be forgiving people, that we're never to look at the teachings of Jesus as just some sort of nice pithy saying or a great teaching concept, but Jesus always teaches with an eye towards implementation and application in our lives. And so I want to encourage you. I know I'm hoping that and asking that the Spirit of God would continue to lead me towards an obedient life before Jesus, to follow and to do the things that he calls me to do. And I pray that for us as well. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope that you've enjoyed this devotional thought this morning, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning. Okay? Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye now.